and welcome to Satchel Paige Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, where this afternoon we've got some high school baseball all the way visiting from California. Cabrillo, the Conquistadors, visiting the Blue Springs Wildcats from the Kansas City metro area as we get set for high school baseball here on Spectrum Sports. Hi, everyone. My name is Nick McCabe. I'm here with Les Norman. And Les, we've got Cabrillo in town from California. They're Danny Duffy's old team, and Danny wanted to honor his head baseball coach who's retiring this year by bringing his team here to Kansas City and see some sights, and they've had a fun time this weekend.
What an incredible experience, and Danny Duffy just taking care of his former team, Jonathan Osborne. Like you said, Nick, 25 years, retiring after this year, and what a great spring break trip to be flying from California here to historic Satchel Paige Stadium to play baseball against Blue Springs.
Mentioned his head coach retiring this year. Jonathan Osborne has been the head man at Cabrillo for 25 years, including when Danny was there from 2004 to 2007, and retiring after a tremendous career at Cabrillo.
Absolutely tremendous career where Danny talks about he taught him not just his love of baseball, the game of baseball, but also how to respect yourself, how to play, discipline, a lot of great things that Danny has taken with him into a successful big league career.
The Blue Springs Wildcats, kind enough to host this endeavor here today, and they're a team that has struggled a little bit this year, but a young, inexperienced squad, just 3 returners from a year ago.
Right, that makes it a little bit difficult when you have 3 returners. You lack a little bit of experience, so you get into teaching mode a little bit, not so much with the team, but on coaching, and they've got 5 games coming up over the course of 3 days, so they have to monitor and manage a young pitching staff and be able to throw those arms out there.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of a bullpen day today just because of that reason. So we'll see Blue Springs and Cabrillo, an interstate rivalry today here at Satchel Paige Ballpark in downtown Kansas City. Welcome back to Satchel Paige Memorial Stadium here in Kansas City, Missouri. A little south of downtown on 51st Street, historic facility. Interesting dimensions, which Les and I will talk about here as we go along, but 300 feet down the line in right field, but much further than that in deep left center. Blue Springs and Cabrillo just about to get underway. Cabrillo will hit first. Let's take a look at the Conquistadors lineup out of Lompoc, California. Anthony Lopez will lead things off. Lopez hitting .293 on the season. Frausto, Garcia, Canchola round out the top 4 for the Conquistadors. Mentioned Blue Springs, kind of a bullpen day today as the Wildcats are starting a stretch of a lot of games in a little time. Play again the next few days. And so kind of just trying to get through today. And they'll start Nolan Rice today. Expect him to go a couple of innings. And then 1 inning each from a list of guys after that. That's at least the plan.
Right, that's that Midwest Kansas City where you can see a lot of weather in 1 week.
Lazy fly ball out into left field is handled easily by Blake Stegner. Let's take a look at that Blue Springs defense. Stegner, Martin, and Gary, the bottom of the lineup. The outfielders for the Wildcats, Trevor Blackwell joining Rice in the battery. Garcia, Smith, Newig, and Hayden Smith on the infield. Cesar Frausto, second baseman for the Conquistadors. He's played in all 20 games so far for Cabrillo, hitting .190 on the year.
One of the interesting things here, Nick, at Satchel Paige Stadium is both in right field, you've got that monster wall that runs all the way to center field, but also in foul territory. There's not a lot of room to work for foul balls.
Grounded up the middle. And making the play, Newig. Over to Christian Garcia.
Good mechanics right there, coming right up. Good shift of the feet right there. Good lining up the shoulders, getting the hands in throwing position. Solid mechanics.
Strike one to Patrick Garcia, the catcher for Cabrillo. Hitting .317 on the year. Foul ball, and he's behind in the count 0-2 to Rice, who has retired the first two batters. That one a little bit high from Rice. 1-2 the count.
One of the things you ask for especially your high school pitchers, is always get ahead. First pitch strikes are so important, and so far Nolan Rice doing a good job of that.
And there's strike three swinging. You got to make the throw to first. But the side is retired in order. A nice start for Nolan Rice. Just trying to get a couple of innings out of him, but 3 up, 3 down for him in the first. We're back as the Wildcats hit in the bottom of the first. Quick work by Nolan Rice, the starting pitcher for the Blue Springs Wildcats in the top of the first. 3 up, 3 down for the visiting Cabrillo Conquistadors. And now the Wildcats will come to bat with Mitchell Smith leading things off. Top hitter, about a .400 average for the Wildcats this year. Blake Stegner, hero, had a home run on Friday against Blue Springs South. Christian Garcia, first baseman, will hit 6th. Had a couple of home runs on Saturday in a win against Liberty North. 3 for 4, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored in that game. Starting pitcher for the Conquistadors, Luke Kovac, sophomore for Cabrillo. Smith lifts one high and deep, and that is going to be over the fence for a home run.
We definitely used the short porch there. That was a pitch, looked like it might have been a breaking ball. Definitely outer half. Wind just blowing out slightly to center field, but he hit that very hard. Kept his hands inside the ball well. Yep. Up and away just a little bit, but right center field and right field here has this monster wall. It's about a 30-foot monster wall, and it's got about a probably 6 to 10-foot net above it, but it looks like it cleared everything. Souvenir for the bushes up there. Mitchell, leading hitter Mitchell Smith, starting the game off with a home run.
It's about 300 to that spot where he hit it. It's 305 to dead center. 300 down the line with that high fence to get over. Smith had no problem clearing everything, as Les said. And now Austin Newig, the shortstop.
The high school level, it's not easy to go opposite field either. That's something that you're still learning, but it just shows the power that Mitchell Smith has.
2-1 now the count, as the sophomore Kovac deals with the shortstop Austin Newig. In the count, 3-1. Youngsters squaring off. Newig just a freshman. And shows good plate discipline there, as Kovac had trouble finding the strike zone. So they're just trying to get a couple of innings out of Rice, are the Wildcats. And meanwhile, they lead off with a home run. The second baseman Mitchell Smith, and then Newig draws a walk. So first two batters have reached. It's already 1-0 Blue Springs. Off-speed pitch. Big rip from Trevor Blackwell, the catcher. But came up empty.
What you've noticed here is Blue Springs pitcher Nolan Rice working that inside to right-handers part of the plate, understanding that that wall is just looming out there in right field. Luke Kovac working the opposite side of the plate, which is going to probably feed into using that short porch with the monster wall.
Just a little off the plate outside, back-to-back pitches that Rio dugout wanted, didn't get the call. So 2-1 now the count. Lifted high in the air. left center field. It's going to be the center fielder coming over and making the play. Blake Beecher squeezes it for the Conquistadors.
Hitter coming up here, Peyton Schmidt hitting DH, hitting cleanup. Seen him play over the last few years and grow as a young player. He has got massive power.
That's smoked down the line, all the way down, almost to the fence. Getting into third base is Newig. And Andrew Gary, the right fielder, beg your pardon, Peyton Schmidt, the designated hitter, coming up with a double down the line.
Well, definitely on cue. Looks like a hanging breaking ball. And Schmidt didn't get fooled by that at all and just stayed right inside the line for a double. Heads up base running too. The throw went to third base. Not a super fast runner, but heads up base running all the way.
This one's hit hard to left field, and a little trouble for Towns, but he makes the play. Tagging up is Newig. He'll come home for a 2-0 lead for Blue Springs. So an RBI for Andrew Gary on the sacrifice fly.
Another good piece of hitting here. Looked like another maybe breaking ball or something that was up in the zone, but with the wind blowing out steadily, but not too much to center. Just got enough, and it's all about the RBIs. And still, you have a runner in scoring position.
Schmidt did not advance.
Another pitch up in the zone and just lifting a ball up. It's situational hitting. It's so important at any level, situational hitting. Get a runner on third or second and third with less than 2 outs. Many ways to get him in, and it's an excellent job of situational hitting right there by Andrew Gary.
Gavin Towns in left field had a little trouble chasing that down, but ended up, despite not necessarily the path you want to take to the fly ball, made the catch. Otherwise, could have been a really big play for Blue Springs.
And there might have been the sideline in mind too. You can tell he had to run a long way. The wind just kind of drifting it out there. But he did a good job staying with it. You never know when you have to keep tracking a ball, especially in my days as an outfielder. You just never know what's up there.
Christian Garcia just hammers one. That's fair, and it's going to drive in another run. Garcia will get to second base. He'll slide in safely for an RBI double, and it's 3-0 Blue Springs as Schmidt comes home on the double from Christian Garcia.
A great piece of hitting here again, and the location again. It's another pitch that's up. He's working that side of the plate where the monster is, and Garcia does a great job keeping his hands inside the ball. That ball hooked a little bit, but normally a ball at this level, hitter's going to get around it and hook it foul, but it stayed fair for an RBI double.
So 2 outs, but still a runner in scoring position for the number 7 hitter, Aiden Smith. Coach Tim McElliott for Blue Springs could not have drawn up a better start than this one. Found straight back, just barely got a piece, did Smith, and it's 1-1. A 1-1 pitch, off speed that just missed off the plate. Here's a look at Tim McElliott. Blue Springs for a while now. Trying to rebuild this program with just 3 returners from last year's squad. And that is going to get through the hole between short and third. Schmidt will hold up, or Garcia rather, will hold up at third base. And it's a single for Aiden Smith.
Sometimes the best part about it is that's a pretty good pitch. Looked like it was a changeup, but the hitter did a good job. Aiden Smith did a good job keeping his front shoulder in. It's a ground ball you want as a pitcher, but part of the game is it just gets through the hole and you keep your shoulder in. A lot of that happens.
Brings the center fielder Tanner Martin up to the plate. Just 2 outs recorded by Kovac so far in this start as he comes back over to first base, trying to keep Aiden Smith close to first base. Christian Garcia stands at third. The pitch misses up and away. So ball one.
Nick, you mentioned that you know, this is the kind of start that Coach Tim McElliott, Blue Springs High School, wanted. You know, 4-15, that's a struggle when you only have 3 returning guys. One of the things you're looking for is offense and take the pressure off of your team, because you start getting in the loss column starts to roll up a little bit, especially with young guys. You start to press. They're struggling. The bench is struggling. You're struggling, trying to find ways to keep their demeanor up. So definitely a better start.
Grab the inside corner, makes it 2-1. Kovac got a fly ball from the number 3 hitter Blackwell. And then Gary flied out but drove in a run, got an RBI on the play. So now they're going to try and get Smith to advance, and he ends up at second base standing up. A little bit of indecision there from the catcher.
Almost seemed like some kind of broken delay maybe, or it started as a delay and wasn't sure, but regardless, now you have 2 guys in scoring position with a base open.
Fly ball, right field, up on the fence, up over the fence. Another home run, and this one clears the bases. 3 driven in for Tanner Martin. 6-0 Blue Springs.
We talked about it from the beginning, Nick. Working that side of the plate on a day like today, the ball's going to fly, the air's light, the wind's slightly blowing out in a very, very short monster wall, only 300 feet out there. Just another ball that hangs in the outside, super slow, and he went up and got it. That's a great piece of hitting. It's a hanger, and Tanner Martin does a good job waiting on that ball too. And get the monster wall finds another victim out there. Big 3-run home run for the 6th run here by Blue Springs in the first inning.
Well, that pitch was chest high at least. It was way up in the zone.
That's
he
right.
went with it and took it out. Opposite field, second opposite field home run we've seen. The short side and right field. This is going to be a pop fly, but backing out of play. As Blake Stegner homered against Blue Springs South on Friday. An 8-2 loss for the Wildcats. Split 2 with Liberty North on Saturday. Lopez over to first. But 2 home runs in the inning for Blue Springs. Mitchell Smith led things off with a solo shot for the Wildcats. Tanner Martin added a 3-run shot later. Blue Springs with a big first inning lead at 6-0. Here's a look at Coach Jonathan Osborne in his 25th season. And the first major league player to play in the World Series that played for Coach Jonathan Osborne is our own Danny Duffy, the Kansas City Royals. And Danny didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but he was really the driving force behind Cabrillo being out here on this trip. Back to that desire to see them play out here with his pocketbook. So Cabrillo on a fun trip, courtesy of Danny. They visited the Negro Leagues Museum this morning, tour Kauffman Stadium tomorrow. They'll play Joplin tomorrow at Kauffman. So a fun trip for the Conquistadors, and a leadoff single.
Hello, boy.
Vicente.
Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, one of the things that Danny had talked about, I got a chance to talk to him a couple times this week, and you know, he shared that, and we'll get a look here. That was probably not the best 0-2, but it's a good piece of hitting, keeping your shoulder in by Vicente Conchola. But he said he wanted them to come out here and experience this, and he wants to give back and honor Coach Osborne, who taught him so much about the game and about life, but also he wanted these players to just get an idea about not their own little small town world. It's a town of barely 44,000 out in Lompoc, California. But to be able to see the Negro Leagues Museum and understand what the players in that era went through, some of the African-American players, the Latin players, but just to be able to experience this. And I talked with Coach Osborne, and he is super excited that Danny's presented him with this opportunity, and they're very, very thankful and loving the stadium. Just a great trip for those guys.
The love and respect between Cabrillo and Danny Duffy is mutual. Cabrillo has done quite a few things. They put Danny's name on some stuff out there. They retired his number and had several ceremonies to honor Danny and his family for their contributions to Cabrillo. Definitely a guy that has been mindful of where he came from, and there's the retired number at his high school. Played there from 2004 to 2007, and on his high school graduation day was taken in the 3rd round by the Kansas City Royals. Chance to turn 2, and they got it. Mason Towns grounds in to a 4-6-3 double play.
See the grass a little bit thicker here. That grass took a really sharp hop to the left, closer to second baseman. Excellent double play right there.
That will bring Alec Brown to the plate. So far, Rice has faced the minimum. Getting that double play ground ball out of Towns. 4-15 Blue Springs team could just not have drawn up a better start to this game than what they have seen so far.
Absolutely. And I was talking with Blue Springs coach Tim McElliott before the game, and he talked about second baseman Mitchell Smith, one of his better players, one of only 3 returning guys, but he's very reliable. He can play any position. You can put him anywhere, and you could see he stayed with the ball moving all over the place, jumping off the grass. Excellent backhand turn. He was pretty far away to backhand that and had something on it and got a good strike to shortstop Austin Newig. So definitely a excellent player in Mitchell Smith.
Real pitch, piped right down the middle for a strike. Alec Brown, the batter, the first baseman for Cabrillo, with the bases empty. That one right at the Blue Springs dugout.
Going across here.
Brown powers that one into left field, and that's going to fall in front of the left fielder for the Wildcats. Blake Stegner gets it back into the infield quickly and holds Brown to a single.
Alec Brown, one of the bigger guys for Cabrillo. Another hanger up in the zone a little bit. That's what you're working on with high school kids quite a bit, is keeping the ball down in the zone. Alec Brown had 2 RBIs yesterday to win at Ray Peck, but doing his job, one of the big guys, junior.
Moreno, the sophomore outfielder, playing right field today. Takes strike 1, evens the count at 1-1. Brown, the first baseman, currently a runner at first. Moreno with his open stance, lifts this one high on the infield. Heard the Blue Springs Wildcats outfielders doing a good job of communicating there, and coming up to make the play was Tanner Martin, center fielder, and that retires the side. No damage done for the Conquistadors despite a couple of hits. Blue Springs 6-0. Conquistadors trail 6-0, visiting from California. What did we decide? About an hour north of LA for Lompoc?
Yeah, Lompoc, California, about 44,000 people. I think Duffy called a sleepy little town. I don't know if 44,000 sleepy, but it's little compared to California, about an hour south. Pretty close to the ocean right there before it goes inland a little bit.
Cesar Frausto is new pitcher for Cabrillo. Kovac allowed Blue Springs to bat around in the first inning and plate 6 runs. It all started with Mitchell Smith, who is at the plate right now, hitting an opposite field home run. Frausto making his 7th appearance. Kovac had made 3 previous starts. ERA was just a little bit elevated, but had been a solid performer for them, but forced out of this game after just 1 inning today.
He was a victim of the poor location up and away in the zone, and I guess the poor location of a very large monster wall But a good piece of hitting right there, too. I mean, it's not just because the monster's there. You have to be able to do it when the pitch is right there. So you can see Mitchell Smith takes a while to get that foot down to see the ball, and he went right with that pitch, hands inside, and didn't take very long to get out of here.
So 1 inning pitch, 5 hits allowed, 6 runs allowed, all earned, 1 walk, the final total for Kovac. And now the count is run full. Frausto against Mitchell Smith. And he'll draw a walk as Frausto misses inside. Smith has reached safely twice today. Now Austin Newig, the shortstop, drew a walk his first time up, scored a run. Called strike, grabbed the outside corner. Home plate umpire giving that high strike so far through an inning and a half. May have to adjust. Newig swings through that one, and he's behind in the count. No balls, 2 strikes.
Good changeup. Well, velocity-wise, well off the fastball. Perfect location, down in the zone, tough to pick up on an overcast day.
Frausto lost that off-speed pitch, missed way outside with it. The 1-2 pitch from Frausto. Fouled out of play. Line drive shot from Newig up the right field side. Expecting some weather later on tonight, so we're actually an hour earlier than the planned start today. It's supposed to be a 4 p.m. first pitch. They went at 3 just to make sure. Almost a double play there as quick reaction from the catcher there for Cabrillo. Garcia. Almost a strikeout, throw him out at first base. Smith was almost a little too slow to get back.
Excellent pitch right there, and you can see that's a veteran pitcher and a freshman hitter, but the snap throw down there too. Excellent throw by Patrick Garcia, and you know that controls the running game too. Even if you don't pick a guy off, it makes them think twice about, wow, this guy's got a good arm, and maybe I should think twice a little bit before I go.
Was a strike 1 to Trevor Blackwell, and now he hits it right back up the middle. He was one of the few guys that didn't get a hit in that first inning. Now Blackwell's going to come out. They're going to pinch run for him as Tristan Stewart, junior outfielder, will come in to run.
Tristan Stewart's one of the absolute fastest young players that I think I've ever seen, in coaching for a lot of years. Watch him through the summer and a chance to coach him a little bit. He's an amazing burner on the bases. Great center fielder too.
Peyton Schmidt had a double in the first inning, scored a run. Had Newig on base in front of him, but Newig had to hold up at third on the play, so no RBI for Schmidt off the double in the first inning. Scored when Christian Garcia doubled him home later. Two on for the Wildcats as Schmidt fouls one back. Fall behind in the count, 0-2.
You can see a good job, Cesar Frausto, for Cabrillo. He's doing a good job mixing things up, keeping the ball down, away. You can just tell the difference between a freshman and sophomore and underclassman in high school versus an upperclassman in how they pitch and what they've learned and how they apply it in the game.
Ball's lifted just over the second baseman, Moreno. Rather, Austin Wolf in there now at second base. It was Frausto that was at second, and now he moves into pitch, and he's loaded up the bases here as you take another look at Schmidt popping one out into shallow right field.
And it wasn't a bad pitch by Frausto either. It was just outside corner drifting away a little bit up. It's still off the plate, but those long arms, Peyton Schmidt, good job staying with it. Hit off the end of the bat, but that's what happens.
Andrew Gary lifts it high on the infield, and Wolf is able to go make the play. I'll get this right in a minute. Gavin Towns is at second base. Wolf is in left field. Towns moved from left field to second base.
Nick, that's high school baseball, isn't it?
It is. It's good. They're going to move around. They're going to challenge me a lot today.
Well, you're doing a better job than I would. That's a lot of numbers and switching and rules and all kinds of things. I've got the easy job here, mister.
So 2 away. Frausto trying to get out of a jam. He's loaded the bases. He finds the inside corner with that pitch and evens the count at 1-1 as he faces Christian Garcia. Double in the first. Said he drove in Schmidt on that double, but he did not. Schmidt held up at third. It was RBI home run for Tanner Martin. That ball is smoked into center field, and that's off the wall. A big hit for Christian Garcia is going to plate 2, and Blue Springs adds to the lead. Now up 8-0.
Well, we're definitely seeing some massive power today by Christian Garcia. Only 305 to center field. This ball was hammered into center, a little bit up and right over the fat part of the plate, but this ball actually hit the base of the fence 305 feet away with that short porch out there. But Christian Garcia flexing some muscle here with 3 RBIs and 2 at-bats and 2 innings.
Garcia held to a long single. And runners at first and second for Aiden Smith. A single and a stolen base in the first inning. Tough play there on an 0-2 pitch. Les.
Yeah, it's definitely not what you want. Frausto, the veteran, just had a curveball get away from him just a little bit.
Let's take a look at Tanner Martin's last at bat.
It's a great piece of staying on the ball right there. Slow curve. It was up, it was slow, but that's not an easy pitch to hit. And just because it's a short porch, he hit that ball hard as well. So you got to give it to Tanner Martin. An excellent piece of hitting, excellent mechanics. That's all those reps over and over again that you work on that pitch.
2-0 to Martin as Frausto can't be too careful with the center fielder here because there's no place to put him. Bases are full for Martin, who would just love a grand slam to go with his 3-run homer from the first inning. Martin, a junior, often starts, one of their top 3 starters for Blue Springs. Expected Nolan Rice, the Blue Springs starter, to go 2 innings today. We'll see if they stick to that plan after Rice pretty well mowed through the Conquistadors order thus far has faced just 7. Three and 1. Frausto's got to deliver a strike. Martin could get an RBI without swinging the bat. Instead, this is powered into the gap in left center field. That will score at least 2 for the Wildcats. They're going to send the runner, and it's going to be a 3-run triple. And now he's going to come home easily. The throw was wide of the mark up to third base. And Martin comes home on the error.
So it's definitely going to go here as 3 RBIs. Will probably be played as a triple with 3 RBIs. He probably would have been out at third base, but there's only going to be a 1-base error in the throw. So he smokes the ball on a hanging changeup. All 3 runs score. Coach Tim McGillia had him sending him the whole way. And then with that throw, the overthrow from the catcher to third, just a little bit up, it'll be a 3-base, 3 RBI triple, and then an error on the catcher, and an overthrow, he scores.
Did that hit his helmet or the bat?
We'll get the replay. Looked like maybe it hit his helmet and then the bat, or maybe just the helmet. We'll see. Had an odd sound.
Let's see if we can hear it.
All helmet.
Definitely got the helmet. So that was Stegner, who's now just that quick at first base. And Mitchell Smith is at the plate for the 2nd time in this inning. That ball just kept carrying, but finally squeezed on the warning track by Steven Moreno, the right fielder. But another big inning for the Blue Springs Wildcats that's once again keyed by a big swing from Tanner Martin. 12-0 Wildcats. Back here at Satchel Paige Stadium, and the first pitch of the inning is lifted into right field, but tracked down by Andrew Gary for the first out of the inning. 1 swing, 1 out. Rice was expected to go just 2 innings, but we were talking about last half inning that he might, after being so efficient in those first 2 innings, might be able to earn himself a third, and indeed he has come out for the start of the 3rd inning.
Well, again, that's what happens when you get ahead. You throw strikes early. The other team actually makes contact with the ball, but you play good defense. It doesn't tap into your pitch count, and you get rewarded with another inning.
So our first look at Blake Beecher, center fielder for Cabrillo. Hitting 167 this year. There's 14 plate appearances coming in. Rice has worked ahead of a lot of hitters, but right now he's behind the number 9 hitter. 3-1 count. Lost Beecher. Beecher was a little confused that he was getting the pass, and draws his 3rd walk of the year.
It's like number 2, Ethan Malta, warming up in the Cabrillo Conquistador bullpen.
Strike on the outside corner to Anthony Lopez. Flew out to Stegner in left field to start the game. It's the 3rd base runner today for the Conquistadors. Beecher over at first base. Chopped foul. Piece of him, it looks like, Lopez. Be able to hear this one, get a piece of him. Ouch.
Off the
Seems
kneecap.
okay.
Oh, little kneecap shot.
This is a dribbler that's going to roll foul. Lopez hitting .293 coming in. Big curveball that drops in for a strike. Boy, Lopez was completely fooled on that pitch.
Yeah, you could see right there that Anthony Lopez not only got forward a little bit, but there's that little open up buckle. And once you do that and stop, it's really hard to re-engage your swing.
That's through the hole, past first base. Beecher will hold on at second. As Frausto trying to help his cause a little bit.
This is how you climb back into a game. Pitch was up. Again, another first pitch strike for Nolan Rice, but up in the zone, and hard ground ball finds a hole. Get the first baseman over there holding a runner on, doesn't cover much ground.
Strikeout of Lopez, by the way, was Rice's second of the day. Now 2 away, chopper to short, it's just past the shortstop, Newig. And Beecher will score, giving the Conquistadors their first run of the ball game. An RBI single for Patrick Garcia, the catcher.
The ground balls continue. Nolan Rice finding the zone. That wasn't a bad pitch. Maybe just a little bit up, but not too bad. Gets another ground ball, but finds a hole and gets Cabrillo on the board.
Canchola singled in the second inning to lead things off last inning. And was cut down at second base on a double play. Now a chance to maybe drive in a run. Now maybe a chance to drive in 2 as that ball gets past the catcher Blackwell.
Yes, sir. Go. 1-7 here. For the catcher.
They're going to run for the catcher with 2 outs. Hunter Barthel, sophomore, will come out to second base and handle the pinch running duties. 2-0 the count. Grounder played by Newig and able to throw out Vicente Canchola. And that retires the side for the Conquistadors, but they get a run. 12-1 though, Blue Springs on top as they come to bat in the third. Back here at Satchel Paige Stadium in Kansas City, Blue Springs and the Cabrillo Conquistadors from California here in town visiting, and we're joined now by the Conquistadors head coach Jonathan Osborne in his 25th year, retiring after this season. And coach, I know it wasn't the start you were looking for here today, as Blue Springs has kind of had some hot bats so far today, but what's the trip been like here to Kansas City for your squad this week on spring break?
Well, it's been a great trip. Danny Duffy's just done a remarkable job in putting this thing together and having us come out here and play some other teams from a different state, and I think it's just a fabulous deal, and we've been enjoying ourselves so far, except for this point. It's a little bit rough right now.
Coach, yeah, it's a tough start, but overall it's kind of a bigger picture thing, I think. What did Danny Duffy mean to the program? I know I had a chance to talk with him, and he spoke of as early as when he was 6 years old coming out, and him and his mom playing catch and getting under your tutelage pretty early. What has Danny meant to the program? Because I know that you've meant a lot to him.
He's been a fantastic supporter, a loyal supporter of Cabrillo High School athletics, as well as Cabrillo High School baseball. He's done lots of things for us over the years. He's just true Cabrillo conquistador. He's an alumnus. His parents have done a tremendous amount of things for Cabrillo High School, and Danny's just a humble guy and a great guy, and just done so many things for us that it's hard to put all that stuff in words, but he's just been fantastic to have around the ballpark, and he's even come and worked out with us, and he's been calling me, making sure that everything's good and if we need anything, and he's been keeping tabs with us on this trip, and also throughout our season, throughout his career, he's always been checking in on us and seeing if we're doing okay.
Coach, I'm curious as to what Danny was like as a player. Maybe when you kind of understood. I know baseball is such a crapshoot when you get to the pro levels, but when you thought that Danny had a chance to be something pretty special.
Yeah, he really. He was kind of a little guy when he first came into Cabrillo, kind of a small guy, and then in between his sophomore and junior year, he must have grown about 8 inches. He went. Wow. So he got to a point where his junior year, he was a lot bigger, a lot stronger, and starting to pitch a lot better. And so from his junior year on, but really his senior year was.
Yeah, that one smoked all the way up onto the road there behind the fence as Trevor Blackwell, the catcher, powers one out.
Yeah. Towards the end of his junior year, he was coming into his own, and then really his senior year is when he started to get a lot of attention and pitching well. And he was the best pitcher in our league his senior year, and it's sure great to have a guy like Danny, who's in the professional baseball, still give back to his local high school and more specifically his baseball team.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. We'll let you get back to work, but hope you have a great rest of your trip here in Kansas City.
You guys, I appreciate the time and appreciate you being out here. We're so grateful to be able to have this opportunity, and great to be able to play at Satchel Paige Memorial Stadium, and thankful to be able to go to the Negro League Museum, and really looking forward to tomorrow at Kauffman Stadium. Gentlemen, I appreciate your time, and thank you for everything.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, goodbye.
That's Coach Jonathan Osborne, retiring this year after 25 seasons. Danny Duffy obviously has turned out to be among the best players that he ever coached, if not the best. And I'm sure it is kind of like catching lightning in a bottle when you get not only a major leaguer, but a major leaguer who remembers where he came from and really wants to give back to that program that helped make him who he is. What a fortunate break for Cabrillo High School. They ended up making a major leaguer.
Absolutely. I went to a small Midwestern town in Illinois, and 300 kids in the high school. And on one team my sophomore year, we had a stud senior who ended up being the first pick in the 4th round that year after we won, named Brian Dubois. And he pitched a year and hurt himself, and I played a year and a half. Neither one of us could hold a candle to what Danny Duffy's done to a program.
That's a fly ball to Wolf out in left field, and that will retire Schmidt for the first time today. And while we were talking to Coach, Trevor Blackwell just absolutely got a hold of one here.
A little bit of a glimpse of Reggie Jackson right there. Ooh. Little watch, little twist, but again, stayed on the ball very well and didn't pull off it, and that would be classified as a monster home run.
We were talking about this one's hammered, but going to be foul by Andrew Gary. We were talking about the wall out there, and there's a net above that, presumably to keep some extra balls off of that hill. And I thought maybe to keep it off of the road that's up there. And you had kind of, I don't want to say sarcastically, but you said, come on, how many high school kids are going to hit it up there on that road? But Blackwell just
apparently
put it on the street. Goodness.
There's a thing that when I came into pro ball, I kept hearing some of our Latin players say was Balacaye. They go, Balacaye, does that mean home run? And they said, no, what it means is to the street. And Trevor Blackwell just did a perfect example of Balacaye.
I like it. I will say that I was appreciative that Coach Osborne took that shot in stride while we were talking to him. It's never an ideal thing when you're visiting with a coach to have him see his pitcher give up a shot quite like that one.
That is tough too. You're on the road. You're from California. You're probably tired. You're doing all these things all the time. You're flying. Then you're touring the Negro Leagues, and you're playing, and you're trying to watch all the kids. And then you come out here, and you got all this stuff going on, and you win a game yesterday, but then today you find yourself down 13-1 in the 3rd inning, giving up 3 home runs already. You're trying to tap in your pitch count, say pitching for tomorrow, figure out what you're going to do. I mean, there's a lot going on. So there's a lot of class in Coach Jonathan Osborne, and you can just get a small glimpse of why Danny Duffy speaks so highly of Coach Osborne.
Yeah, no doubt about it. By the way, we haven't had a chance to mention yet that there is another new pitcher into the game for the Conquistadors. 3 innings, 3 pitchers. This is Ethan Malta, 5'8" junior. This ball is hit hard and deep and carrying and out for the 4th home run of the day. Christian Garcia now has 5 RBI as he drives in 2 here.
So it looked like it was another pitch that was up in the zone. You can see the Blue Springs Wildcat hitters are teeing off on balls that definitely are up in the zone, taking advantage of the wind, which is now shifted a little bit toward right. But again, with these dimensions and the power that the Wildcats have displayed, this park and these pitchers from Cabrillo are not being able to hold much of these balls that are in the air, hit hard, and difficult to keep in. Definitely up in the zone a little bit.
Malta just 4 appearances, but had come into today with a 2.62 ERA. Has retired a couple, but given up a few, and this ball is hit out to left. Aiden Smith. He's reached all 3 times today. A single and a stolen base in the first, hit by a pitch in the second, and now homers to left here in the third.
Well, you can't blame the Wildcat hitters for what they're doing. I mean, it's, again, you have the dimensions. These balls are up in the zone, and they're doing a good job of just getting the barrel to the ball, and they're not really wind aided. So it looks like, Nick, that we're going to call it.
Oh, so that's going to be the ball game, a 15-run rule situation here. So with 2 outs in the third, Blue Springs, who has really less struggled offensively this year, they just explode today for 16 runs. That's the 3rd home run of the inning and 5 so far on the day. Not so far, now 5 on the day officially for Blue Springs, who's going to capture their 5th win of the season.
There's definitely an explosion of offense by Blue Springs today.
I just look back at him and just like shrugging his shoulders.
It's like they're talking and figuring some things out a little bit here.
So we're going to take a timeout, and we'll sort it out after this. Maybe they decide to play on here. We'll see what happens, but Blue Springs dominating so far here against Cabrillo. The Hy-Vee High School Game of the Week is brought to you by Hy-Vee, the official sponsor of High School Spirit. A final from Satchel Paige Memorial Stadium. Blue Springs all over the visiting Cabrillo Conquistadors. They bust out for, dare I say, their biggest offensive day of the year. 16 runs today, and they win it 16-1. You see the players still out on the field. They decided, Cabrillo's come a long ways. They decided to play a little more today, so they're scrimmaging now, but without umpires, and we're going to go ahead and sign off as this one is a final. Blue Springs 16-1 over Cabrillo, and let's see how Blue Springs was able to compile 16 runs. I'll tell you what, Les, 5 home runs did not hurt. Blue Springs was hitting the ball hard, and they hit them out today.
Yeah, that's definitely going to do it. You see Mitchell Smith right there going the opposite field, and then you get to see Tanner Martin take one out. He had a triple and a home run. 5 home runs total, with Christian Garcia going 3 for 3 with a double, a home run, and 5 RBIs. Big swing even right there. You see old number 25, Christian Garcia, hitting one up on the street up there on the Swope Parkway, and then finishing off with number 2, Aiden Smith, taking his home run out. Big offensive day for the Blue Springs Wildcats.
Mitchell Smith led off the game with a home run, and little did we know at the time that was a sign of things to come for Blue Springs today. Our Midland Marble and Granite MVP, one of those guys that hit a home run, Tanner Martin, the center fielder. He made it 6-0 with a home run in the first inning, and then got a 3 RBI triple in the second to really put things away for Blue Springs, put them up 12-0.
Yeah, definitely the MVP of the game right there. What an excellent day. Saw a lot of hitting, a lot of solid contact, a lot of good hitting, pitches that were up. You don't see a lot of high school kids miss mistakes, but you saw the Wildcats missing nothing today, absolutely. And Tanner Martin, you can see taking advantage of that.
And Martin was standing on deck. A chance maybe to have his third at bat today was taken away when Aiden Smith made it a 15-run spread with a solo home run in the third inning. We'll come back to wrap things up from Satchel Paige Memorial Stadium. The Hy-Vee High School Game of the Week, brought to you by Hy-Vee, the official sponsor of High School Spirit. Nick McCabe, Les Norman back with you at Satchel Paige Memorial Stadium, 51st in Indiana and Kansas City. Historic facility that was renovated a lot when the All-Star Game was here back in 2012, and they're doing some work on it right now as well. Some work going on outside the stadium, and great to see them preserving this historic space in Kansas City in the inner city. And the visitors from Cabrillo, the Conquistadors. Again, this is Danny Duffy's old team. If you're just joining us, we were looking forward to talking a lot about these guys today, but our game cut short by Blue Springs exploding for 5 home runs and getting 16 runs, so we got a run rule. But some pictures of the Conquistadors touring the Negro Leagues Museum earlier today.
I had a chance to talk to Jonathan Osborne today, 25-year head coach of Cabrillo, Danny Duffy's old coach, and he said that it was just a fabulous tour of the Negro Leagues. They got some great history. And he said, man, that's not a place, even though it's not super big, it's not a place that you just go by one time. You want to come back, you want to teach and let the kids understand, which is a great thing. And look, we know that Cabrillo lost today to Blue Springs 16-1, but it's bigger than that. It's Danny Duffy giving back to a high school, a coach, and a team that gave him so much on his way to a continued big league career. It's an opportunity for them. Like right now, they're scrimmaging and they just get to relax. There's no pressure. Just play some baseball and some great weather on a historic field. So there's so much that can be brought into this trip and this game. And there's Danny Duffy right there wearing his Cabrillo retired number, his Cabrillo jersey. It's just a neat thing all the way around.
He's rehabbing today, so we're looking forward to seeing Danny back playing for the Kansas City Royals soon. And it said there on the graphic, but real quick, Cabrillo also playing here in Kansas City tomorrow. They get to play at the K, which is going to be fun. They're going to tour the stadium tomorrow morning, and then they'll get to play Joplin there tomorrow night. And Joplin, another area that's close to Danny's heart. He was able to go down there and visit some tornado victims and was really impressed with their resilience down there. So he wanted Joplin to be a part of this trip for Cabrillo here to the Kansas City metro area. So cool thing for the Joplin kids to play at the K tomorrow as well as Cabrillo. And so a fun trip for Cabrillo. Didn't go that well for them today, but big picture, they're having a great trip here to Kansas City, courtesy of Danny Duffy as he supports his old team, the Cabrillo Conquistadors. Congratulations to his coach, Jonathan Osborne, the head man for the Conquistadors, retiring after a great 25-year career after this year. For Les Norman and our entire crew, Nick McCabe saying so long from Satchel Paige Memorial Stadium on Spectrum Sports.